Hey, Tubies. It's Psychic Bob. Well, it is so good to be here with you guys. I know I'm getting this video out late. Probably going to be a week where I just get out videos late. It's just going to be that way because, as you know, I'm down here at my mom's and I've been very busy because I have to do stuff for her, and then I'm taking care of the house, and then I have other errands that I do to help my sister-in-law and her husband and family. So it's been a little crazy here, but it is Lammas, or Lughnasadh. You can call it either one. And I want to first of all just come here and say Happy Lammas, Happy Lughnasadh 2018 to all of you. I hope wherever you are, you're having a wonderful and a blessed evening. You know, today I was out, and I tell you, it got so hot here. Whew. It's been cool the last week, and I was just expecting it to be cool because when I looked out today, it looked like rolling thunderclouds. Down here, it's been raining nonstop every day, which I actually like because I love the rain. For me, rain is like good weather. And I looked, I said, oh, good, it's going to be a rainy day. Well, Psych Bob was all excited. I ran outside to get in the car to go out to the store. Oh, my God, the heat wave hit me. Like when you open an oven door. Well, that's what it felt like. I wasn't expecting that because I hadn't watched the news, the weather, and excuse me, I don't know about allergies here. And when I got out, the heat hit me. I think it made me a little heat sick today. So I've been feeling a little under the weather. Haven't been really able to eat much. My stomach's not felt well. But I'm okay. I've been staying out of the heat. I've been drinking a lot of water, just chilling, eating lightly. I'm feeling better now. Anyways, but I am getting this video out late to you, and I ask you to please understand. You know, one of the things that I've been doing today is, while I was out, I was watching the sun. Because, you know, the Sabbats are always about the Sun Lord and the solar energy. I didn't bring my Sabbat pendant. I have a beautiful solar Sabbat pendant. It has the 8 Sabbats around the wheel. And I forgot to bring that when I was at home. So today I said, what can I wear that's solar oriented, Sun Lord oriented? And I went in my jewelry box and I found one of my bracelets. And this, you may recognize this. This is a bracelet that, it's not actually a Cartier love bracelet, but it really looks like one. It's kind of a copy. But it's a nice bracelet, and it's a little different because the Cartier bracelets, they have little screws and you screw them in. This one's a hinge bracelet. But I put this bracelet on today, and I kind of meditated on the solar lord and the energy around Lughnasadh or Lammas. By the way, the word Lughnasadh is a Celtic word, and it's basically about the god Lu, a celebration of Lu. Lu was an ancient Celtic god who was like a god of crafts. He did handcrafts and made things by hand. And he was also considered, his name means the long-armed one. And he used to be depicted carrying a giant spear or a javelin, and he would throw it, and he could, hit targets a mile away. He was a god. But the throwing of the spear represented the sun's rays, and he was giving his energy to the earth. And so that's what that's about. Now, Lammas comes from the Old English word, which means loaf mass. And Lammas in traditional British culture, or Celtic culture, was it was celebrating of it was a harvest festival. They celebrated the ripening of the grains, and at this time is when they would first gather in the grains, and they'd have bread. And Lammas actually comes from the Christian word, as I said, which means loaf mass. And so remember, in the early days, the church co-opted a lot of the pagan traditions and put their own spin on it. So Lughnasadh became Lammas. And interestingly, the pagans today, a lot of them still use the term Lammas, even though it's technically a Christian name. But anyways, I thought today, I haven't been up to it. I was going to prepare a loaf of bread and do a big offering with the bread. I've just been too ill to do it. But I thought we'd hear some words of wisdom from one of my favorite authors, Scott Cunningham, today about what he calls it Lughnasadh, which is the old pagan Celtic name. So this first section I'm going to read is from the chapter called The Days of Power, and it goes through the 8 Sabbats and just gives a little overview. Okay, so I'm going to read this, okay, and then we'll have a little prayer as well coming from one of the rituals around Lughnasadh. Lughnasadh. Lughnasadh, August 1st, is the time of the first harvest, when the plants of spring wither and drop their fruits or seeds for our use, as well as to ensure future crops. Mystically, so too does the god lose his strength as the sun rises farther in the south each day, and the nights grow longer. The goddess watches in sorrow and joy as she realizes that the god is dying, and yet lives on inside her as her child. Lughnasadh, also known as August Eve, Feast of Bread, Harvest Home, and Lammas, wasn't necessarily observed on this day. It originally coincided with the first reapings. As summer passes, Wiccans remember its warmth and bounty in the food we eat. Every meal is an act of attunement with nature, and we are reminded that nothing in the universe is constant. You see, this is a very sacred day. I love all the Sabbaths, but I especially like this one because when I became a Wiccan, I started to observe the cycles and the seasons. And I don't think most people today realize that the days are getting shorter. And you know what's interesting is little Grizzly, who's over in his chair asleep, woke me up this morning. And I think he woke me up at like 6 a.m. And the sun had not fully risen. It was still dark out. And I thought, wow, isn't that interesting? Because it used to be up at 5:30. Now it's 6 and it's still a little dark. And I thought to myself, wow, it's interesting because I woke up and I knew today was Lammas or Lughnasadh. And I thought, I'm glad I got woken up because I had a chance at that moment to think about the solar energy. So all day long I've been out, watching the sky, watching the sun, and you can see that the sun is further towards the south because, as the earth is rotating and the sun's moving, the earth is going closer to fall, so the sun is, because of our axis, further away. And it's actually becoming very apparent. So if you haven't really observed this, you might want to, set your alarm if you can, get up a few days earlier than normal, and notice how the sky's light in the early morning has changed. That'll give you a sense, of what's going on. Excuse me, guys. I'm having terrible allergies all of a sudden. I drink a lot of water here. So as I said, I've been wearing this bracelet today to remind me of solar energy because it's the only piece of gold jewelry that I had in my case. But, now what's nice is that this acknowledges the eternal cycle of the god and the goddess because, as I said, the lady is pregnant with the child that will be born at Yule. And so in Wicca, we have this kind of dual concept of the god being born and then dying. And right now, he's starting to die. At Yule, the Lord was at the height of his glory and power. Not Yule, excuse me. I can't think today. At the solstice, at summer solstice, at Litha, the Lord was at his height of power. And now the Lord is starting to weaken. You could think of him as advancing through middle age. And our next Sabbat is going to be Mabon in September. And we'll talk about that later. But just know for now that the Lord is starting to age. And he eventually will die at Samhain, at Halloween. But yet he lives on in the goddess and will be reborn at Yule. So I think the wonderful thing about this holiday is it reminds us also that life is short. And I think it's very important that every day we be reflective of where we are in life. We're all aging. You know, it's funny. I was saying to somebody the other day, I said, you know, when I started YouTube, I was 40 years old. Do you know 10 years have flown, literally, like a blink. Now I'm 50. So I'm aging. And so Lammas is kind of like where I'm like the sun god today, because I'm around the age that the sun god would be in the cycle of the wheel of the year. So I really relate to the concept of the passing of time and the beginning of aging. Of course, now I've always said, and those of you know me, say, I may have to age, but I don't have to show it. And I always say, between facelifts and hair dye, you'll never know how old I am. I'm just kidding. But, you know, really, Lammas is a time, even if you're young. You know, I have a lot of people watch, they're 18, 20 years old. And they're like, I don't get this. You know, I'm young. I don't care about these old people. But I'll tell you something, especially for you young people. Life moves quickly. Don't waste your youth. Make every day count. I think when you get to middle age like I am, one of the things that you realize, and I hope you don't realize it, but in a way, I think most people come to a point where they say, wow, if only I had used some of my younger years a little more productively. You know, we goof off, we don't take things seriously, we let things slide, and then when we get older, we think, wow, I missed some opportunities. And I don't say that in a negative way, to be all depressive, but it is a reflection time. And at Lughnasadh, what we can do is we can vow to make up for lost time. We can vow to set in motion those things we want to accomplish before we get too old. Because the truth is, everybody ages. And someday we'll all pass into the summerland. But while we're here, we should make our time count. And Lughnasadh reminds us, you know, the Lord gives his bounty to us at Lughnasadh. And so we get the grain, we get the harvest. In fact, today, I went out and I bought bread. And I was in the bread aisle. I was at Walmart. And I was looking at bread, and I thought, oh, today's Lughnasadh. How appropriate that I have to buy bread today. And so as I was buying bread, I said, thank you, Son, Lord. And I brought that bread home. And I just thought about it. I was looking and I thought, I'm blessed. I'm blessed that, one, I have the money to buy food. Two, that there's food to buy. You know, because a lot of people in the world don't have money, or if they have the money, there's no food available. A lot of countries have food shortages. So I think particularly those of us in the Western world, the United States and Europe, you know, we're very blessed because most of us have the money and we have the food available. And so Lammas or Lughnasadh is a great time also to be thankful that you have bread. And I would encourage all of you, go and look at your bread. Go in your kitchen, see if you have any bread in there. You might not have even thought about that today. Now, some of you may have made bread as part of Lughnasadh, and that's really cool. I want to hear about that. You got to tell me below, did you make bread for Lughnasadh? As you may remember, last year I went and got a special loaf. Do you guys remember this last year's video? I had special Italian-made, handmade Italian bread, and we offered that at my Son Lord altar. This year I didn't get to do that because I'm away, and it's been as I said, a long day. But even though I can't physically do the whole ritual like I did last year, this week, I'll do it when I get home, because I always like to say the Sabbats are a season. You know, we're not just one day and then it's done. We're entering into the season of Lughnasadh, and that's going to go all the way on until we get to Mabon, which is September 15th. September 21st. So, you know, even if today you thought, oh, I slipped my mind, and you know, it's easy, and I have to tell you, it's easy. Don't beat yourself up if you're a Wiccan. You say, oh, I'm so embarrassed. How could I be a Wiccan and miss a Sabbath of all things? And you may feel like you're condemning yourself. Don't do that. The Lord and the Lady love us. We don't have to do all the fancy rituals all the time. We want to do them when we can do them, and do them in the spirit of joy and celebration. So I want you to think about, if like today I wasn't able to do a Lughnasadh ritual, but when I get home next week, I'll have my altar, I'll have access to all the different things, and I'm going to do a Lughnasadh ritual. So I'll still celebrate, and even though today we couldn't do much, we'll have more on that. So I encourage you today to reflect on the cycle of life. Reflect on what your goals are. Goals maybe that you've let slide, that you've let time go by. Lughnasadh says time is passing. Reap the harvest. Be thankful. And continue to plod along because it's not over. We're in the whole harvest season now, all the way up to Samhain. And so we can reap the benefits of that which we've sown. And for those of us who maybe let things slide, we can revisit that. So don't be despondent or despairing or feel that you're a bad Wiccan because, gosh, how could I miss a Sabbath? Hey, Wicca doesn't have harsh guidelines. It doesn't say you have to do the Sabbath. It says be open to the energy, and that can happen at any time. So know that we're entering into the Lughnasadh or Lammas time, which is going from now all the way to September 21st. So you have time to celebrate, okay? So I encourage you to reflect on that and remember it. Now, also further in this book, Scott Cunningham has a wonderful little prayer. That's he does a ritual for Lughnasadh. And I was going to read this prayer to you. I just think it's beautiful. Okay? And in the earlier part, he describes how to set the altar. In fact, I'll read that part too, because if you want to set an altar in the next few days, or maybe you've set an altar, and maybe this is something you want to add to it if you hear something in here you like. Lughnasadh, August 1st. Place upon the altar sheaves of wheat, barley, or oats, fruits, and breads. Perhaps a loaf fashioned in the figure of the sun, or a man to represent the god. Corn dollies, symbolic of the goddess, can be present there as well. Arrange the altar, light the candles and censer, and cast the circle of stones. Recite the blessing chant listed on page 132. Invoke the goddess and god. Stand before the altar, holding aloft the sheaves of grain, saying these or similar words. Can you visualize that? We're at the altar, it's all lit, beautiful bread and wheat, and we're holding a bundle of wheat in our hand. Can you just visualize this? Because you can do rituals in your mind if you don't have physical means. And here's our prayer. Now is the time of the first harvest, when the bounties of nature give of themselves, so that we may survive. O God of the ripening fields, Lord of the grain, grant me the understanding of sacrifice as you prepare to deliver yourself under the sickle of the goddess and journey to the lands of eternal summer. O goddess of the dark moon, teach me the secrets of rebirth as the sun loses its strength and the nights begin to grow cold. Then it says, rub the heads of the wheat with your fingers so that the grains fall onto the altar. So you just kind of shred them, the grains drop down. Lift a piece of fruit, so we pick up like an apple and bite it, savoring its flavor, and say, I partake of the first harvest, mixing its energies with mine, that I may continue my quest for the starry wisdom of perfection. O Lady of the moon and Lord of the sun, gracious ones before whom the stars halt their courses, I offer my thanks for the continuing fertility of the earth. May the nodding grain lose its seeds to be buried in the mother's breast, ensuring rebirth in the warmth of the coming spring. So mote it be. And then it says, conclusion says, consume the rest of the fruit. Works of magic, if necessary, may follow. Celebrate the simple feast. The circle is released. Now, isn't that beautiful? I'm telling you, I think that's just so poetic and beautiful. And our rituals should be beautiful. Wicca is not like a lot of religions where we're stuck in the mud and it has to be this way. Wicca says, find joy in the changing seasons, attune to that, and celebrate life. So I hope wherever you are today, you are celebrating our beautiful Lord. I would encourage you, go in your jewelry box, find something golden to wear. It doesn't have to be solid gold, it could be brass or gold plated. Get something and attune right now to that Lord's shifting energy. Let it remind you of our own journey and that we're all aging. And let's make our time count. Speaking of making our time count, I wanted to be here today, no matter, even if it's late and I've been ill all day. I wanted to be here because you count, and I wanted to make our time together count. So I'm glad to be here, and I hope this has given you a little insight on Lammas or Lughnasadh. And I hope wherever you are having a beautiful and blessed day. Guys, listen, I'm going to wrap it up here. It's late, and I'm going to get this out to you guys. But I love you. Thanks for being here. Listen, thank you also for those who came into yesterday's video. We had messages from the spirit world. So if you didn't see that, that's in the queue right before this. I hope you'll check it out. But I'm glad you're here, and I am so thankful for your love and support. And anyways, keep it here at Spirit Channel. We got more coming. Tomorrow's Vlog Thursday. I don't know what we're doing yet. I have kind of a hectic day again, so I don't know. We'll see how the day goes. I may not get out a lot for you tomorrow, depending on how things go. But we'll have something, at least a little vlog, even if it's a short one. But you guys are the best. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your love, support. Thank you for your prayers. They really sustain and heal and uplift me. And that allows me to be here with all of you. And, we have an exchange of energy. And that makes me very joyful. So I'm thankful for you as the harvest comes in. I'm thankful for the harvest of love that I receive from all of you. And I hope that wherever you are, you'll have a truly blessed and happy Lughnasadh. Blessed be.